Hello. I think we need the moderator of this session, which is, I think, Priyanka.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
All right. So when are we live?
Yes, we are.
All right. So let's just start. All right. So welcome everyone. Welcome to Epsilon Women in Shiny, our Shiny panel. We have some amazing guests today we're going to be talking to and learning about their Shiny experiences and, tips and tricks from how they have started their journey and moved on from there. So let's get started. I am going to start with a quick introduction of everyone here, and then we'll start with the panel questions. And so we have Lucy. She's based out of Nairobi, Kenya. She's a second year student at Hasalt University pursuing MSc in Statistics and Data Science, specializing in biostatistics. She has recently accepted a position as a research assistant at University of Manchester Center of Epidemiology. She is also a co-organizer of Our Ladies Nairobi and an active member of R4DS learning community, and she's starting her journey on mastering Shiny Book Club. Apart from all of this, she has interests in gaming, listening to reggae, roots music, and reading books about Rastafari. Next up, we have Anna. She works at Appsilon. She's based out of Warsaw, and she's a senior project manager at Appsilon with experience in data analysis, project management, and R Shiny. She's also a mentor in the Dare IT program that helps women enter the IT world. And according to her, she's a lifelong learner, dancer, and a dog lover. And the name Anna should sound familiar to you if you have attended any of the Shiny related webinars or online YouTube videos that are sponsored by Epsilon or maybe last week's our conference and such. Next up, we have Shel. Shell is a data analytics consultant based out of Nairobi, Kenya. She currently works as a short-term consultant with the World Bank, where majority of her work involves developing Shiny dashboards. She's also a co-organizer of hashtag Nairobi R and Our Ladies Nairobi, which are the groups in Nairobi with the aim of bringing people together to learn and develop their skills in R. Her interests are data analytics, data science, spatial analytics, causal inference, and impact evaluation. When she's not working, she enjoys watching thrillers and reality TV. Last but not the least, we have Bilikisu Aderinto. She is a business data analyst and consultant based in Abuja, Nigeria. She's currently an independent R Shiny consultant and a founder of Business Data Laboratory. Her main focus is in building data products based on R Shiny dashboards and applications. Outside of her formal work, she is a founder and co-organizer of Our Ladies Abuja, Nigeria, and an author of LinkedIn newsletter Little Steps Shiny Power BI. So we have this amazing panel today. We are, presenting to you, and I have lots of questions for them. Anyone who's attending this session, please feel free to, post your questions in the chat as well, and we can take them up as they come. So I guess welcome all to begin with. It's been great for me to follow you on Twitter, in our community, at different sources like YouTube videos for you, Anna. A lot of meetups I've attended for you, Shel, following you on Twitter. It's all great work. Yeah, I think we lost Bilkisu, so I guess we'll figure this out offline. But I guess to start with, I think I would like to start in a fashion of how you all started the journey. What you're currently, how comfortable are you in your shiny work, and then we'll talk about maybe professional growth and so on. So I guess to begin with, we'll talk about. I think I want to send out start with this question of tell us about your art journey, our shiny journey specifically, and how or why did you start? What was your motivation, and where do you feel you are right now in your career? In general as a data analyst, or with respect to your shiny skills, how do you feel about it yourself? So we can start with you, Anna.
Yeah, sure. So actually, I would say I started by accident because I was just learning on Coursera. I picked just the whole path on R, and one of the courses was concentrated on Shiny. And this is when I just first time seen and tried Shiny, and I really liked that. Later in my work, I had a chance to actually build the app for the team. That was team of data analysts, and that was kind of an internal tool that we just wanted to use for our analysis. And this is when I started like improving my skills, because it's always best when you can actually use the newly learned skills in action. Yeah, and now I'm here in Appsilon and I'm our Shiny developer. So I'm still learning, especially now I'm learning JavaScript and CSS to like expand my UI skills, let's say. Yeah, and that's where I am. Thanks.
Okay, so who wants to go next? Shell, you want to go?
Yes, please confirm that I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Awesome. For me, I was working in academia. Then I kind of got bored and decided to move to corporate in the year 2017. And I was lucky to get a job as a data analyst in a very progressive company. And it was at a time when I was learning a lot of new R stuff, which was different from what was being taught in school. And that's when I came across the Shiny concept. And one thing about me, I will always be willing to learn anything new in R. Even today, like my bookmark tab on Twitter is almost full. So I started playing around with Shiny, and one day I explained this whole new exciting concept of creating dashboards in R to my boss, and she asked me to explain the concept to the rest of our data team. And she was very good in Shiny herself and had developed such an interactive and pretty dashboard that we all felt motivated. And from there, we started working with Shiny to develop dashboards for clients. And I must admit, then years back, working with Shiny was not as, I think, smooth, for lack of a better word, than as it is today. So it wasn't a very good start, but for me, the end justifies the means. So yeah, glad.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. While we are still trying to get Bilikisu online, Lucy, you wanna go ahead?
Yes, thank you so much, Priyanka. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Yes, so I firstly learned of Shiny apps in 2020 when I attended a meetup, an ladies meetup held by Our Ladies Cape Town. And I was so fascinated to see that simple thing, like a very basic Shiny app, was created in R. I literally didn't know that R could do that, so it blew my mind. And so I didn't do much because right about that year I started my master's, so I had to focus on that for the last 2 years. But at the moment, I'm back into studying Shiny, and particularly, like you've mentioned, through discussions by the R4DS learning community. So yeah, and I look forward to studying the chapters and creating awesome apps. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I can add a shameless plug here. I think I was part of the first Mastering Shiny book club and R4DS community. And I think at this point, I worked with John, the admin for the R4DS community. I created this book clubber Shiny app, which which is still in the very infancy stage, but the purpose of it is to sort of replace the where is the polling tool that he uses. So
Yeah.
I have seen it, and we've had some challenges with it, that it cannot identify the time zone and such. So I connected with him, and I worked on creating that MVP for, creating a Shiny app to allow all the users to give their availability, and then choosing the time based out of like how many how many people are interested, and like how many people filled that form, and what is their availability, based on which you can choose like what this cohort wants to do at this time. So that book lover is my shameless plug.
Yeah, thank you for creating that. It was really awesome of you. Yeah.
Thank you. I have few thoughts on how to improve it, but I guess it just takes time. The first one was so excited. I did like all the first MVP. I finished it in 1 week, but that was a simple app.r structure. But then we moved it to Golem, mostly by John. But I'm learning a lot in that process as well. Okay, so we have Bilikisu back. Bilikisu, you want to talk about our shiny journey? Like, how did you get started, and what was your motivation to start on it? You are on mute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Getting to Shiny was kind of out of curiosity, okay? Because I couldn't believe how I could create a web app. So my initial thought was, okay, this is going to be messy and it's not going to work. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to try it out. So ever since then, I've not looked back, and I've really enjoyed every step.
I think we got some connection issues there. Um, I can't hear her anymore.
Okay, so it's been wonderful. The
What would be a conference without any technical issues? Maybe we should move on. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on to the next question, and I hope we can get her back. This time, we'll maybe tell her to turn off the video. I think she's having connection issues. Okay. So let's hear about in your current state of the amount of time that you spent on learning Shiny, and expanding your work skills around it. At this point, what do you love about building dashboards using Shiny rather than any other platform? Like, what is, according to you, a distinguishing factor with Shiny? We can start with, let's say, Shell this time.
Okay, thank you. For me, I really, really, really love that I can do everything from data cleaning to dashboard development within R. I think I use R 10 hours a day, every day, except from weekend. So that's a definite plus for me. There's also the aspect of reproducibility in the code, so such that someone else can always rerun the same output from start to finish and get the same code from start to finish and get the same output. And also editing things in the future doesn't entail a lot of work, because you might just need to edit a few functions. So having that workflow from the beginning to the end in one platform, for me, really works well.
How about you, Lucy?
Okay, now that I am at the beginner level, let me say I enjoy the fact that it is interactive. So the fact that I can create something that the users can interact with, I Yeah, so like at the end of that meetup, we had created an app that displayed how the evolution of the COVID-19 cases, the deaths and the recovered were evolving. And I would choose, for example, for my country and for compare with other countries. So the fact that I could do that, I find that is something that distinguishes it at this point. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, it's perfect. Anna?
Yeah, so for me, at the start, the best thing was that I didn't need to learn new technology to actually build an app, and that was amazing. And now, when I'm progressing, I also see that the possibilities are unlimited. So you can actually learn some more technologies, like for example JavaScript, and advance your apps even further, which is also great. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So I think on this question itself, do you want to add like one exciting thing that you have built with Shiny, like that something that you're really proud of? And I'll continue with you.
Um, Hard to say. I would say that the thing, I'm not sure if this is the most, let's say, advanced thing, but that I had a lot of fun building that. That was an entry for our Shiny contest. And that was actually a fun app because I wanted to use the new package that we developed in Appsilon, and that's Shiny Fluent. And I just built an app, just kind of like story of our developer and the struggles that he has at work and so on. And I just used the elements like kind of to create a story. So I had really fun doing that, and I could also test a new package, which was great.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds very interesting. I'm going to have to go look up now this app that you're talking about because the story that you're telling behind it is interesting. And I have read about Shiny Fluent, and I've always been wanting to look at it. So I think now is the time I should. Oh,
Yeah,
and I see that we have Bilikisu back. So I think I missed you on complete answer for the last question. But do you want to talk about any of your favorite or any of your proud apps that you have developed, or any of the Shiny projects that was fun to work with, like most fun to work with? You there with us, Bilikisu? Yeah. Feel free to turn off the
Hello?
video if that helps with the connection.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, oh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. If you want to turn your video off, and if that helps with the connection,
Hello?
yes, go ahead. I could hear you earlier. Okay, we'll come wait for you to come back. I can move to Shell. Did I talk to you about this question?
For me, I think the best thing that I've learned, and I think this year or from end of last year, is enhancing the UI of my Shiny apps using CSS. So I started learning CSS first because I felt I wanted to learn a bit of front end development, and then it reached a point I'm like, wait, I think I can also apply these skills in Shiny. I remember when I was starting out, I could see people's Shiny apps and see what I'm developing, and I'm like, okay, are we using the same version of Shiny? Because this is the Shiny that is on Cran, and people are producing amazing things until I watched a certain talk and someone said that it's never just about Shiny. And for me, that was just an eye opener. And that's the same thing I preach nowadays. And I love that the previous panelists have really extensively spoken about this. And as Damian pointed out, I'm sorry if I've pronounced your name wrong, JavaScript and CSS is the way to go beyond Shiny. We spend so much time as data analysts working on the back end. Is my are my functions working? Are our plots beautiful? Blah blah blah. But then we forget at the end of the day, whatever the end user sees is the front part.
Right,
So
right.
your back end will be amazing. You've used functions, you've used awesome stuff, like you're a very good art developer, but then whatever the end user doesn't know about that. You're the one who knows that. So whatever
Right.
you see at the front, whatever is seen as the front is most important. Also, the second thing was creating mobile versions of already built Shiny apps without having to alter the original code much. And again, this is um, with using CSS media queries. And I must admit, like, my gosh, I am so excited and I'm so proud of myself. And I'll be giving more details about a project I worked on at our studio conf in July.
Oh, yay! I would love to hear that. Oh, and I just learned so much within this question, I guess. I'm gonna probably poke you both later. Lucy, I know you're more of on the beginner side, and don't know if you have any things to add here. And then it's totally fine to say, I'm proud of this chapter I presented because you're part of the book club. So we understand. The reason why we have panel is, I think we want to have diverse voices. So go ahead and be proud of what you've done so far.
Yeah, thank you for the encouragement. Yeah, I submitted also a Shiny app in last year's contest,
Nice.
but I realized, like what you've been advised today, that I focused a lot in ensuring that the model works, because I was fitting. So this is a project that I had done earlier. I fitted, well, together with my mentor, we fitted an epidemiological model, the SEIR age structured model, using the Square package, and it was quite complex. So when I was trying to simulate the COVID-19 cases, like the outbreaks, I realized that the parameters that I was using, they were for the Europe and not for Kenya setting. So, and with that, it didn't manage to simulate how I wanted. And so with that, I took so much time trying to make that work instead of focusing on the UI or other things. And I have learned quite a great deal from the previous talk regarding how I can go about if I'm to participate in the next contest. Yes.
Sounds good. That's wonderful. I'm gonna try. I think Bilikisu is here. Can you hear me, Bilikisu?
Sure, I can hear you.
Okay. And yeah, I think like Shel is suggesting, let's have your video turned off so that you can actually talk.
Okay.
Yeah. And now
Okay.
let me continue with the question. So I'm asking everyone to talk about one project that you feel one shiny dashboard, or any shiny project that you had like amazing fun working on, or something that you're really proud of. Can you hear me now? Okay, I'm gonna try check in. Bilkisu, do you want to talk about any of your favorite projects on any shiny dashboards?
Okay. I think I get the question. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. I think okay. The one that was really challenging was a project we did for a public health organization. So it's kind of really tasking in the demands and the requirements that we'll have to integrating with different platforms, API, the different data that we have to kind of bring into the dashboard. The data were all scattered around. So connecting the APIs and also making the app to be fast while getting the data was really challenging. So we had to go through a lot to improve the performance. So this really led to using so many packages that even led us to even getting some of the packages from Appsilon to help to improve the performance of the application. That was really, really challenging, and I learned a lot. It was really motivating and really made me convinced that I can really do it. So that was very, very interesting for me. And I'm really proud that I didn't give up. So we stayed till the end. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great to hear, and we are proud of you too that you did not give up. And I think same here. I think this was a better, um, situation where we could hear you properly. So I think we'll continue with this. But thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna move on to next question now for all of you. So like I said, I think earlier we have, the panel that we have, everyone is at a, different stage of their learning, their learning our journey, sorry, their our shiny learning journey. But if you could go back, think of as our beginner shiny developer, what can one benefit from the R stats community? Do you have any suggestions, or sort of an additional question to that would be, if you could go back, what would you change in, or what would you do differently? Lucy, I think this is you're the most senior. I'll come back to you in the end. Let's start with
Yeah.
Anna.
Okay.
So from the RStats community, I think nothing very new, but generally all online resources. I think this is easiest to use, and I keep doing that. So I think that's it. And when it comes to what I would change, I would start using Git or this, version controlling much earlier in the process. I remember in my first project, I was just copy pasting the files because I was so scared of, like a GitHub or any other Git connected things that I wouldn't do that. And now I use it every day, and it's so simple, and it helps so much that really I recommend that to all beginners.
Sounds good. Bilikisu, you want to go next?
Okay. What I would suggest if I have to go back would be that, okay, I'll start small. I'll start by taking a little step at a time, especially using the R Studio Shiny blog. They're kind of simple tutorials. I wouldn't want to go into books like Mastering Shiny at the beginning. So I think that taking that little step, learning little things at a time, practicing with it, creating little projects that you can really see the output of what you're doing. I think that would have been the best thing. So rather than going through reading the book from the beginning to the end or something,
Mm-hmm.
create something from the little you can learn that also be within a community. That's the easiest way to learn.
Yeah.
And I believe that would really help. So that's my take.
That's wonderful. I think I cannot highlight enough the the essence and the value of community. Like, I think I have learned so much, and I have grown because of the community. Because like when I first learned art, it was like ages ago, when I think there was no tidyverse. And I remember there was this one another team member who had done art projects before me, and at that point I felt like I don't know anything. Like, anything I try to do, I just fail. I just get errors. Like, I'm such a dumb person. And my art studio will give me an R red color message. I'll turn back and see, is this guy free? Can I go to him and show him this dumb question again? And now it feels like, and I feel silly now when I finally learned that how to Google your just if you get an error, copy paste it, Google it, and then it's as simple, and then you get 10 solutions. One of them will work for your situation. So yeah, I guess community has been so helpful too, in getting in feel starting to feel that it's normal. um I guess I did not ask Shell you this question, so go ahead.
I must admit, I also learned I won't mention how many years right now, but way before. I think maybe Tidy was found. I don't know, just way before. But how can a beginner Shiny developer benefit from the community first? People are always sharing information on LinkedIn, on Twitter. There are 4DS Slack channel that I really love, and other forums. So it will be good to be keen on these platforms. And also with COVID, a lot of meetups were held online, and these were recorded and uploaded to YouTube and company websites. um, Chapter like ours, Our Ladies Nairobi was born during COVID, and we have so much to share, and our videos are posted online on YouTube. And yeah, so for like groups like Our Ladies, Our Studio, the user conference itself has a YouTube channel where guys can really go and watch most of those videos. And honestly, if I could go back to the very first time I learned Shiny, I wouldn't change anything, because for me, during those days, we didn't have as much information as we have right now. Now companies like our studio and Appsilon have a lot of resources online that one could use. So I appreciate the journey then. I don't think I will do anything different.
Yeah, I think the first time I did in Shiny app was also through that the art studio tutorials. So I think with Bilikisu's inputs, and I think I did that. I did have a great right start. And yes, I got to the book much later when I thought, okay, I can make a simple app now. Let's learn something more. So yeah, I guess so. Let's move on to Lucy. Where in the beginner journey you are, and what do you want to say about that?
I sorry, I actually regarding the community, like I've said, I'm one person who, for a new concept, I will understand better through studying a book and like watching videos or anything. Like just when I read that book, I will understand that concept better. So, and thankfully, the R4DS gave me that platform to do that. And actually, the Mastering Shiny book, at the moment, we have just done chapter 1, and we have built our very simple app saying, hi, hello, worlds. So and from there we will build on to the other elements, that's the other components of the Shiny app. So yeah, and like the other panelists have said, the AppStats community, there's so many resources. And also one thing that I learned from them is the tips and the tricks that are shared. So that is quite interesting, that you may just be browsing around, then you find like a tip that you didn't know existed, or a trick that you can use. So yeah, that is one thing that I've really benefited from the community, and it being friendly. So yeah, thank you, our community, for being friendly. Yeah.
Sure. Sounds good. So I think now I'm going to move on to another question. Um, so I think one thing I want to pause. I do not see any. Oh, I think I was missing this piece. I am going to just quickly take a look at the comments and see. Okay, there are lots of questions and comments here. Again, this comment section I was missing earlier, so I'm trying to browse if there are any questions for the panel in this. So Shell, there's a question. When you say the same platform, do you mean our Shiny or our studio? I think you meant our studio.
Yeah, but I meant like in R generally. But
Okay.
my favorite IDE, like what I use to run my R code, is R Studio.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, and I think Shel, it might be great, and for you as well, Anna, if you can, maybe when I am asking next question to somebody else, if you can share your entry for the like the our shiny contest that you mentioned. I think I'll be able to pick it up from the comments later. Why are shiny maps that entail maps and the following messages? Sorry, give me a second. I'm trying to read through the chat. What kind of community are we talking about? So, Marcel, I'm reading your question, and we're talking about the R4DS community, which is if you look it up, you'll be able to join. So it's r4ds.io/join is the web link that you can use to join the Slack channel. And you have people on it globally, so there's somebody always online. So Shel, this is a question for you. Which Slack channel did you mention? I think again this is for R4DS.
I actually meant workspace, the DS Slack workspace. And in that
Slack.
workspace, we have, several channels.
Right, yeah. The help and chat channels, right? That's what we're talking about, right? Yeah, same thing. Okay, so Dheeraj shared that. And definitely enjoy the videos. Yes. Okay, cool. I think I'm caught up on the comments. I somehow did not see them so far. So I'm going to move on to the next set of questions. Yes, so this, I think this is very important for me too. How do you debug your Shiny apps? And this is an outsourced question, and the something that followed this question was, I start by crying, and I do that too. So I guess we've missed Bilikisu for a long time, so I'm going to start with her now. Bilikisu, do you want to give some tips on how do you debug your Shiny apps? Bilikisu,
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I think I'll start from you, from what you said. Don't cry. No way. Although I've done that so many times. When I get into. Okay, so I think now I'm much more wiser. It's better for you to create modularized applications that you can test. But if you're starting as a beginner, I think the best thing is you can use the showcase mode, or you use breaking points. That's if you are in RStudio IDE. You can use breaking points. So, but for me, I would just say create modularized applications that you can test. Then you create a means of testing it. So I don't know if I should use kind of technical whatever, but I believe we're talking more to beginners and we're sharing our experience. So if you can use the showcase mode, or you use breakpoints, or you want to kind of debug using some packages that could help you, that would be better. But don't freak out. Take a step at a time. Create modularized apps that you can test. It's easier for you to do that. So I don't want to go into too many technical details. So that's it. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, I think showcase mode is interesting. I don't think I've tried that before, so I think I'll come back to you on that, Bilkisu, for more details.
Okay.
Anna, do you want to give some feedback inputs for that?
Yeah, so of course it depends where the bug is. So if it's something with the, I don't know, CSS, then I just open developer tools in the browser and just look there. When there's a problem with the data or some calculations in the app, I just use browser. And actually that was like a breakthrough for me when I learned about that function. And it's really, really helpful. And so I would say if I see the problem with the behavior of the app and that's somewhere inside, then the first thing I do is just put browser and just, look inside what's happening there.
Okay. Shel.
Number one, crying helps. Also, due to years of experience, I'm able to know what certain errors mean, so it's easier for me to debug. But trust me, you'll less likely be the first person to get that specific error. So just copy pasting the error from our console to Google really helps. And long live Stack Overflow. Also, there's a whole channel on the R4DS Slack workspace that is dedicated to answering questions that people have about Shiny. And I have always taken advantage of that. And just a short story, sometime last year, I desperately posted my error there after 2 days of trying to debug something. And one mentor, Tan, hi Tan, I think.
Yeah, I saw he's here.
He took my script and even recorded himself debugging it. And since we're in different time zones, when I woke up in the morning, I found that Slack text saying, "Hi, I was able to sort your issue. The problem was XYZ, and here's the link to the recording." In case you want to understand the process he followed during debugging, and that solution worked. So nowadays I don't struggle much. Once, twice, if I'm not able to copy paste, go to the Slack R4DS Slack workspace, post your question there, and pray that someone helps. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess when it comes to the help our Shiny channel in R4DS, I guess we are just, all of us are praising R4DS, but I think we are all connected there. So, and I have to give a shout out to Tan Ho for that. Thank you so much, Tan. I think you saved so many of us in, our journey. And I see Dheeraj is also here. He said hello to me. He was also one of the kind person who once took me through, like on a video discussion. He showed me how his debugging process was. So and I see Gwen is here. She's also helped me in her ways, how she had approached some of the problems. So again, like I said, thank you so much, our stats hashtag R4DS community. I guess I will move. Lucy, do you want to talk about any of your experiences?
I haven't had too much of errors, so for this question, I've been learning from you.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's okay if you want to say pass. Okay, so let's move on to something else. So I guess I had this one more of community engagement question, but if I'm correct, is there any, so other than Lucy and myself, is there anybody else who has also experienced the book clubs? And if you want to talk about that experience? And if not, that's fine, I guess.
I participated in one, but it wasn't the Shiny one, so I don't think it fits to talk about it in this context.
Okay. So I guess we could talk a little bit more about I think the competition that you talked about. So I'll start with, you briefly mentioned Anna, and I guess Lucy, you also did, Shel, you've also participated. So in terms of, participating in that R Shiny contest that our studio organizes, so I guess first of all, are there any other similar competitions that you've been part of? And yes or no, like other than that, like what generally is your motivation, or what is your drive to participate or submit your entry in that Shiny related competition? Just, anybody wants to talk about, let's say, go with Shel. Let's start with you. No.
Sorry, I can't speak much to that. I've never participated in a competition. I'm not confident enough. So maybe next year. Maybe
Okay.
I think the skills I've gained this year so far, I think I can develop something for not next year. I think it's this year, end of this year.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. Bilikisu, you want to talk about any of your entries?
No way. I'm I'm still watching. I'm still learning a lot from the competition. But I give a shout out to all those who participated. It's a really big platform for us to learn. So, and I've really learned a lot. I'm learning a lot. Those are just where you can get a lot of tricks to build and boost your morale in kind of developing complex applications. And a lot of people are doing, a lot of professionals are doing a great job there. So thank you and hooray to them. Thank you. Maybe next year, maybe.
Yeah, and it definitely is also a source of complex because I'm like, oh God, people, submit such amazing entries. I can never do that. Okay, I'll move to you, Lucy, because you have submitted one, and then we'll move to a more advanced entry from Anna. We'll talk about it maybe a little more.
Yes, I actually, yes, like you said, the fear of people in the higher level submitting better apps than you. Yes, I had that in mind. That scared me, but I have this attitude of why not. But from today's, the previous talk, I've realized I need to come up with a better reason for submitting a contest. And well, apart from the why not attitude, and yeah, I took it as I love tests. I love like testing my understanding. So I took it as I'm testing the understanding that I have at the moment. And also what can I looked at the submitted apps and what can I do to improve. And I realized that I have a lot to improve, but I took it as a shiny journey that I don't care how long it will take. I will get there to create such a good app. Yeah, I think that's it. But I'm not demotivated. I wasn't demotivated not to participate. I will still, if I've been able to create one and having that plan to do so, I will still submit. I may not be even among the top 200. Probably I'll be among the last, if not be ranked. But I am not demotivated. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. I love the why not attitude. I'm gonna try to keep that in mind too. Okay, so Anna, yeah, I think yours has been the most experienced, or at least of this set of people for now. So yeah, let's hear from you. How did you go about it? What was like? How did you get started? And talk about a little bit more about the final product. How could you submit it?
So actually, I don't have much experience in submitting such applications. I think that was one RStudio Shiny contest, and also somewhere in the past another hackathon. And like my reason to participate is just to learn something. So I'm also not trying to win that. We had a panel, I think. An hour ago with the with the winners of those competitions. So if you want some more advice how to win that, I think those are the appropriate people. And also there should be already a comment from one of the moderators with the link to my app. If anyone is interested, you can go there. It's very simple. You can just click through. And what I wanted to mention is that actually that previous hackathon that I took part in, that was actually not, let's say, not R or Shiny concentrated. That was just like a general hackathon. And the goal was to create an app that uses data that is publicly available. And I took part with the team. That was actually a team competition. And we used Shiny there. And because, Shiny is great for prototyping. So when you're thinking about participating in hackathons, you can also, look further, not only R and Shiny related, but I think this is also good technology that can be used also in some more general hackathons.
Yeah, that's a great advice. And I'm also quickly looking at the comments. Yeah, some appreciation for your app, Anna. It was shown. There was a link for that in the chat, so people are appreciating. Winning is secondary, absolutely. Participating and having fun is the most important part. I agree. And how to participate in our Shiny contest. So Jaya Pramila asked this question. So I think our studio would always post when they, start that competition. There's usually a timeline. There is an initial post, and then there'll be a timeline saying, okay, submit your Shiny apps to this link by this date, and So that's basically when you can submit your entries. Benjamin asked if there are any junior or dev positions. So okay, somebody has shared about Appsilon, but otherwise, I guess you can look up at our studio website, R4DS, again, jobs hiring channel.
And we have also careers section, like in the menu on the left-hand side. You can check there.
Yeah, I think one of the Appsilon team members has shared that website, like Appsilon website as well. But otherwise, I guess people who are here and want to say anything, if you want to share your open positions, please go ahead and share that in the chat. In terms of my next question, I wanted to continue the the public sharing kind of work that we talked about. So we started with this conversation of participating in the Shiny contest, but other than that, I'm curious. So how do you like? How do you think about, or how do you decide that this is what you want to share? Or maybe like the question would be like, when do you think this is good enough that you want to share publicly? And especially if I think the advice would be more useful for people when you think of the work that you're doing is more of proprietary for your company, and you don't think it's as it is can be shared. Then what do you do? Like, are there anyone has any advice for that? Like, what could they do so that because you've put in a lot of effort, you made a Shiny app or some product, and it's been working great, it's been doing a lot of amazing reporting and whatnot, but you can't really exactly share it. But how can that person flaunt their work on social media? So maybe let's start with what all platforms do you use, and what is the best approach in this situation? And let's say, feel free to jump in, whoever wants to talk first. Unmute yourself and go.
Okay, so I can start. So actually, I think that the very often, if we do a work for the client, actually, what's proprietary is the data, or maybe some some logic that is there. But what interesting is there that we add maybe some solutions, some ideas, and then I would say that 80% of the work is already done because we have that problem solved. We have some thoughts on it and so on. So then, if we want to actually share it publicly, there is only 20% of work that we need to add to actually kind of anonymize it, kind of just extract only that part that is technical, that isn't in any relation to the client, to the data or anything. This is just actually extracting our idea that is worth sharing with the public. And when already that idea is mature enough and tested, it's not that much of additional work. And so I'm doing that in Appsilon, but also we have a lot of other Appsilonians doing that. We have Appsilon blog post, and we are very often posting things there about very, very broad range of topics. So you can check there.
Okay, sounds good. Who wants to go next?
Shel, me. Most of the work I share publicly is self-development work. And for me, it's usually just a way to encourage people that, 2 weeks ago, I didn't know this concept. I learned something small. This is what I developed. It's not clean, but I learned something. And I share my work. I post my work on my website, on GitHub, and on Twitter using the rstats and Shiny hashtag. Unfortunately, currently my work at the World Bank is tied to a non-disclosure agreement that I strictly abide by, so I cannot speak about or even share anything publicly. And maybe I've just seen a question at the bottom of the comments: how much Shiny do each of you use in your work? I think from January I've just been developing shiny dashboards. So I'm every day. I'm debugging. I'm adding stuff. So for me, it's all the time.
Yeah, and I think I can say since Anna works at Appsilon,
Uh-huh.
it's just shiny all day, every day, other than, data cleaning and wrangling. That's, in a similar script next to it. Lucy, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was actually really encouraged by Shel to share my work. I was one person who was really scared to show people what I've done. But Shel was like, just be motivated and show people what you've done. You'll encourage another person to learn. So I think when it comes to, and all these are pet projects, unfortunately, I haven't had an opportunity yet to work on a Shiny app for work purposes. So yeah, that is my answer.
Okay. Bilikisu, you want to go
Okay.
next?
Okay. I think what I usually do now is that I don't share the main thing about my projects. Like there are some privacy that might come into some interesting projects that one has done. But basically, what I would suggest is you can have blogs, just like Shell said. You can also share on your LinkedIn or Twitter handle a description of that project. So, like Anna said, you might want to kind of take out the privacy, is not going to be showing some private information about that project. So, you can make like a demo of it, but showcase the technical details that you've gone through in the project. So, and your knowledge is part of sharing what you know and what you've done before. So, that's my take on that.
Perfect. Wonderful. So I guess we are almost at the top of the hour. So I want to leave with this last question, especially for, in context of the jobs. So I guess, so what advice would you want to give to someone? Either, if you prefer to choose like someone talking, in starting out in the field, or for someone looking for a shiny developer job, any specific tips or advice you want to give them, like that can help them like up their game right away? Shell, you want to start?
Yeah, so for someone starting out in the field, first of all, before you even start indulging in any Shiny app development, and this is my personal view, please learn how to write user-defined functions. User-defined functions have really saved me this year. This will reduce the effort needed when you're debugging, and it also ensures that you do not have redundant code in your app, which could slow things down. So for example, if you have data like for 80 variables and you're supposed to just produce the same kind of graph using ggplot, like surely um, you can't have as many codes as the variables themselves. So user defined functions are gold. Again, Rome was not built in a day. You will not go from 0 to 100 in 2 weeks. It's a lie. Start small, then build your skills gradually. And the other day, someone requested to make a contribution to an app I made some time back, and I refused because I love using it to show people or even potential employers where I'm coming from. And when it comes to advice to people looking for a developer job, one, build a portfolio. Two, share your work online, apply to speak or give a training so that more people can know what you do. Understand concepts better, which is key even without coding. And finally, just reach out to folks like Appsilon or our studio for an internship or a job. And that's it from me.
Okay. Anna?
Sure. So I would say just start. And this is, I think, at least what I see, maybe this is the issue in Poland. But what I see is that generally people, and especially women, as we are in women in shiny, this may be interesting, is that women tend to learn a lot and for a long time, but they don't feel ready to actually enter the market. And what I would say, I would encourage you to actually, go to the market and try to find a job, and your learning will accelerate because you will face the real data, the real problems, and you will stop working with iris dataset, and this will be really, really good for you.
Yeah. And I guess I just want to point out 200% agree with you on the functions piece, Shel. I think when I moved on from, removing the redundancy, I think I have always done that in most of the roles that I've gotten into where I had to take somebody else's code and, work through that. So it helps. I mean, every situation has the pros and cons. When I get to build my code, I do it in my way. I have a different thought process than somebody else. And if I get to if I have to start with something that already has been built, then it gives me more context of something somebody already has done. But then I'm like, oh, this is so redundant, I need to do something about it. And then working on functions is so when my analytics career started with SAS, and then that point macros was the thing to automate, and in R it's been functions. So it just saves. It feels so nice when I can reduce 100 lines code to 25. It just feels accomplishment for that day. And I just want to echo that Demian is agreeing to those things as well. Extracting code to functions as just as a tip, it's something that is available as like a drop down menu in our studio. So it helps a lot in sort of making it a structure, and it sort of gives you the whole if you select the piece of code that you want to put in a function, that's something that, let's say you've done for one piece of your code data and you want to repeat it, that functionality in our studio helps that as well. But I'm going to stop talking and let Bilikisu give her inputs on the last question, and I guess it might just be time to stop after that. Bilikisu, so your tips for people looking for jobs?
Okay. I think the best thing is give it a shot. You can't be completely ready before you job. So I would say if there are kind of entry level opportunities for you to go in, try. You might fail at the first time, but just keep on trying. So keep on trying and keep on improving on yourself. The best thing you can do for yourself is to believe in yourself. You cannot be perfect. You can't get it right at the beginning. So just like Anna said, we love to read, we would love to be perfect, but you can't be perfect. That's what I've learned on the journey. You can't be perfect, but always try any opportunity. Just make sure you don't go for the top level. That's all. That's what I would say. So thank you.
Yeah, I think that's been amazing set of tips, both technical and I guess psychological. When Lucy said why not, and when Bilkisu says you're never going to be perfect, let's just keep trying. I think just try to be a better version of yourself from yesterday and from 6 months ago. I guess that's the key to keep moving. And then even though I think the mayor and the carrot scenario, it's probably a positive one in this case, that keep moving to get better every day and every week and every month. And I think with that, I still have lots of amazing questions to ask this lovely set of ladies. But I think given the time, I must thank all of you for for your time, for all your inputs that you've shared. I'm sure everybody has learned so much. I personally have. I've made some notes that I would try and share with, again, on Twitter or other #RStats, #RStats, social media. But it's been amazing. Thank you so much, Anna, Shel, Bilkisu. Despite all the technical challenges, we finally made it through. And Lucy for your time. All the amazing people who are in the attendee list. And I must publicly apologize, Gwen. I think my call to you to come into the panel was last minute, so I could not. I mean, I don't have you on the screen right now. My apologies for that. And again, I can take the stage to shout out to, again, thank you so much, Tan and Dheeraj, for being my personal mentors, and for all of us in the community. Again, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Appsilon, for having us here. It's been amazing, and I'm sure we'll learn from each other off this session as well. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.